Okay, hello to our session at the Microsoft 365 Saturday Madrid Virtual. Blame the end user, the top tips to unscrew up user adoption in Office 365. My name is Jussi and my partner in crime is Marijn. Hi, Marijn.
Hey, Jussi, are you excited?
I'm very excited. Cool that we have the opportunity to do this. So yeah, let's get it rolling. First of all, thanks a lot for the sponsors to make this happen. Obviously, we have applied to go visit beautiful Madrid ourselves, but due to the current situation, we cannot do it and need to do it in a virtual way. Nevertheless, thanks a lot for all the sponsors to make this happen, and go check out their websites and their services.
Yeah, I was actually there last year at the SharePoint Saturday in Madrid, and I see some names that I was seeing last year as well. So really cool that they're back again.
Yeah, I was there as well. I don't know, was it last year or the year before? We did some type of VR experience that was really cool. Yeah, going shooting some zombies.
Nice.
All right, a little bit more about us. Why do we do this session together? And the reason is because we have our world famous YouTube series, Blame the End User, together. We are now currently in season 3 of the session, and we are discussing all about user adoption and actually, can we blame the end user when user adoption isn't working or when they don't understand the Office 365 tools? So this is kind of the main topic of our YouTube series, and there we have rockstar guests like Joel Olsen, John Levesque, Carolina Ketugari, Thomas Boscitek. I can never pronounce it.
Everyone knows him, but we just can't pronounce his last name.
So Thomas Posticek or something like that.
Yeah.
Yes. So we have like a session coming out maybe every other week or every 3 weeks, something like that. Go check it out.
Cool.
So quickly about myself, my name is Jussi. I'm based in Helsinki, Finland, half Finn, half Swiss. I'm an MVP since 2013. Started as a SharePoint MVP, and what I do mostly is change management. So I call myself a bit as a change coach. I'm working in and with the company Habit, where we actually do have a change management or user adoption framework. That's kind of my main job. Otherwise, I'm a geek by nature. I'm a petrol head and a Star Wars and Lord of the Rings nerd. I'm a sailor without a boat and a foodie in the hoodie.
All right. My name is Marijn Somers. I'm from Belgium, but I also do a lot of projects in the Netherlands. Also an MVP since just 1 year now. I'm an independent freelancer under the name of Balestra. I've been doing a lot of SharePoint things, mainly Teams things, projects the last few years. I love to speak at events like this, preferably in person, but if we have to do webinars, well, that works as well. I also have a podcast together with Steve Dalby called Office 365 Distilled, where we talk about Office 365, and we always end with a whiskey tasting. Some people are saying that we should do the whiskey tasting before we talk about technology, but I don't think that's a good idea. But anyway, also a little bit about me. I would have loved to be back in Madrid this year, because I actually lived in Madrid for a few months many years ago when I was doing my internship in the Real Palacio. So I was working at the Royal Library as an investigator, where this was my desk, where I was working together with this guy on super old books like these ones, all handwritten books from the conquistadores. And we were actually building a platform where the people from the library could scan the books, scan the outside of the books, so the book covers. And we actually made a whole database with pictures, with metadata, all kinds of stuff. You can find those things here on this link, the Encuadernación realbiblioteca.es. So you can find that project. It's still there. It's open. And you can find a few thousand books there and all their book covers. So that was that was definitely the coolest project I ever did, mainly because I was living in Madrid for a few months, and that was just awesome.
This is pretty cool, Marijn. Something I didn't know about you yet.
Aha, haha.
The only very positive memory I have from Madrid was that we had some epic seafood after the conference. And my friend JP Werta, he was like, I don't know how many of those, seafood things he ate. He ate maybe for all the portions from all the others as well. Yeah.
Nice.
Good. But let's go to our topic. So what do we cover today? Our goal is to unscrew up the user adoption. So we want to highlight 5 challenges, what is very common in most of the customers or most of the cases when we talk about user adoption. So we talk about digital literacy, a very important topic also to one of the rock stars in user adoption in the world, from Tracy van der Schijf. So she evangelizes a lot about digital literacy. Also about finding the right sponsor, what is the importance of user adoption, and a bit goal and measurement, the ROI. And then also we talk a little bit about the complexity and how to tackle that, and then the wrap up. All right. So what is user adoption?
Oh, yeah. So what is user adoption? So to me, user adoption is actually just saying like it's the art of having the users in my organization to actually use the tools that we decided upon. So we decided that we were going to use tool number A. Okay, so how can we actually have people start to use it in the correct way? So why is that important? Because we just spend all that money buying or developing a tool, and if people are not using it, then all that money is just wasted, of course. So it's all about your shadow IT, because if we propose tool A and everyone is using tool B, that's not going to help us at all. We want to minimize our cost, but also we want to be compliant. We want to have security. We want to have searchability. If everyone is using something else, then we can't find our stuff anymore. So there are a lot of really good reasons on why you want to have proper user adoption in your organization when you're rolling out your tools.
Yeah, so I often bring the example of Formula One. So imagine you have this nice Formula One car. You have spent, I don't know, millions of euros on building your Formula One car. You have polished it. It's purring like a kitten. It runs perfectly. Would you take just a random person from the street driving that and drive your race? Probably you wouldn't do that. It would be dangerous. It would waste your investment. It would be dangerous for the car and for the driver. So I often do this example of when you don't care about user adoption, it's about the same that you would just, let a random person drive your nicely developed and polished Formula One car.
Nice.
So let's talk a little bit about the challenge 1, digital literacy. So what do we mean by that, Marijn?
Well, to me, digital literacy is all about having people to know how to use their tools. So, for example, I've got a few customers where a lot of people in there are not really used to working with computers. They always love to do things on paper. They're always printing stuff out. They're always sending emails instead of just chat messages. And if anything goes wrong, like for example, in the picture where we have a cable that is unplugged, people have no idea where to start looking for solutions to address that problem. And it's very difficult and very daunting for those people. So for example, last week, because now we're all working from home with the whole corona crisis, I had somebody complaining about their it's a company that is using VPN connections, and they were complaining about their VPN connection was always dropping. So in the end, I asked them, okay, but where are you sitting? Yeah, but I just took my laptop and I'm walking around, and I'm actually sitting in the garden because the weather is really nice. Okay, but where is your Wi-Fi router starting point? Oh, that's all the way on the other side of my big house. Yeah, okay, so maybe the problem is not the VPN connection. Maybe the problem is that you're too far away from your Wi-Fi connection, and your Wi-Fi connection is not stable. So people don't have any idea on how to deal with those things. And if we want people to start using Office 365, first we need them to be able to work with their machines and work with their tools.
Yeah, exactly. So the thing is that if you can't ask the right question, the answer is irrelevant. You know?
Yes, exactly
like that.
Yes. Yeah. All right. Go on.
Yeah, so digital literacy. So there are like, this is this awesome slide from Tracy. Thanks again, Tracy, cool stuff. So there are kind of these main skills what users should adopt to become digital literate, in meaning critical thinking and evaluation of things. Also, Tracy has linked the different services of Office 365 to one of the digital literacy boxes. So which kind of tools or services support that type of skill, or which of the services you should learn in order that you get better in e-safety or get better in collaboration or things like that. But talking about this, so critical thinking, a very important skill in my point of view. It helps you everywhere, not only.
Oh, no, absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah.
So evaluate of information you're receiving, and evaluate your own work in a way, and helps you to do that. Of course, e-safety, big thing. Okay, you can have the best digital security things in place, but the biggest problem when it comes to data breach, it's always the human, right?
Yeah, it's the end user. I know. That's why we're having this session. We're blaming everything on the end user.
Exactly.
No, but absolutely, e-safety is so important. I get so many. For example, a few weeks ago, there was a user that was sharing a file with somebody else via the sharing functionality, and that other person got an email saying that this person was trying to share something with them, and that person ran up to me and was like, "Hey, Marijn, I think I got a spam email. I think I got a phishing email, because it says that I need to click here because this person is trying to share something with me." No, that's not a flippin' phishing mail. That is, this person is trying to share this file with you. So it is so important to understand what can go wrong and what is going wrong in most of the cases, and when something is a phishing email and when something is not.
Is not, yeah, exactly. Then, of course, collaboration nowadays, I think it's one of the most crucial skills ever. How do you work together with people, also over digital tools?
Yeah.
Of course, now being locked at home, I think it's even more important. But we will come to that a little bit later.
Yeah.
Again, but collaboration, how to work together, how to communicate properly, what is the the etiquette. I think you Marijn have a very good session about Teams etiquette.
Yeah.
It has all to do with that. It's not only about finding, working, and sharing information, but it's also the meta layer on top of the communication and collaboration you have, which is very important, and especially when it comes to digital collaboration.
Exactly. Yes.
Curate information. What is meant by that? It's meant that you would have a certain topic or a certain context, and you would find information around that, and you will be able to find it and actually
expand knowledge on it.
Yeah, and put it like into a digestible format maybe for your readers, and that they understand in an easier way what this topic is about. So, for instance, creating wiki articles or something like that.
I think Project Cortex that is going to roll out later this year. I think that is going to be a massive help on curating information.
Curation by AI. So
exactly.
Let's see what it brings. I'm very interested to hear that. I'm all very pro this high tech stuff. So let's see what it brings. Very interesting.
Yes.
Then, of course, proficient communicator, very important skill because information is created by the receiver and not by the sender. So if I write something to Marijn and I have something in mind, I could write it in that way that I understand it in a way, but still, if Marijn wouldn't understand in a way what I would have anticipated to, then the information changes. That's kind of the broken phone thing. So information always is created with the receiver in that sense. That means that the communication skill needs to be really polished, that you don't get this broken phone problem.
Yeah, and I also see a lot of etiquette rules here as well, because you're trying to communicate something. As you said, indeed, like who is that other person? What are their skills? But also etiquette-wise, like for example, if you are chatting with somebody and you have a question for somebody, in a chat, just ask the question. Don't go, hey, Jussi, I think I have a question and I'm not really sure how to think about it. Maybe you can help me. And then asking the question, you're just wasting that person's time. Same thing with emails. Just try to keep it short.
Yeah, especially nowadays, because people have an attention span lower than a goldfish. So it's like 9 seconds attention span. So if you are, wasting, as you said, wasting the other person's valuable time with kind of irrelevant things, just skip it. Just go straight to the point. And especially we people in Finland like that type of approach, because we're not the most, let's say, proficient in small talk.
Oh, no. There's a fantastic word for that, and that's called filibuster. And it is actually talking about a specific topic for so long that you just bore everyone to death. And the Romans had a great way of this in the Roman Senate, that they would just keep on talking and talking and talking until the day was over, and then the topic was closed.
Yeah. Exactly.
Brilliant. Love that.
Yeah.
So
that's why it's called Parliament.
Yes.
Okay. Creativity, of course. Again, very important skill. Not everyone has it, but it's easier to hone it nowadays. Especially, for instance, when you look at PowerPoint, you have the design ideas, what the AI can help you to do.
Yeah.
And so thanks to this feature, I'm much faster with my presentations nowadays. It's just that you don't need to pull everything out of your brain from scratch. Creativity has a lot to do with finding things and changing them a little bit or combining things. Learning this is a very, very useful skill.
Absolutely. And I love the fact that you have that design ideas in PowerPoint, that you brought that up, because this is also how Office 365 can help you. Because also in the online version of PowerPoint, you also have the presentation coach, and then you can actually it actually records your voice, and then it will give you points like, oh, you're reading too much text from the slides, you're saying too much,
Yeah.
you have too much profanity. Never had that issue before. So all these things, and it will give you all these pointers. Same thing in Word, for example. There's now some kind of grammar function in Word that will look at the text that you've written, and it will actually say, okay, you're using active sentences and passive sentences. Maybe you should change that. So it will give you pointers to make better content. So it will help your creativity so that you can just focus on the message and not deal with everything else around it.
Cool. So last but not least, practical and functional skills. There's some examples like, for instance, learn how to search right. As I said before, if the question is wrong, the answer doesn't matter. It also applies on digital search, right?
Yes,
so for instance,
absolutely.
my wife, she's an absolute pro in Googling stuff. I mean, it's incredible what she finds.
Oh, is she a consultant? Okay, yeah.
No, she's not, but she finds everything on Google. But that's exactly the point. So learn how to ask the right questions. That's a part of that. Not only kind of the functional knowledge in how do I operate my Word, because let's be honest, the Word has millions of features, and you maybe use 100, and you're still fine with 100, right?
Yeah.
But the thing is that, okay, if you would need the feature 101, how do I find the information to figure out how this works? And I think that's the main point of this.
Yeah, very good. Good call. Good call.
Okay.
All right. So how can we get our users there? How can we make them digitally literate? What I always do for my customers is that we first need to, just like in other kinds of counseling, you first have to acknowledge that you have a problem. So you need to identify the issue. You need to identify the business case and the cases where you have these people that are not working the way they should work. So what I always try to do is I try to find the gaps first. So I try to do surveys based on the role that people have. So as a person with that role, I should be able to do this, this, and this. So you can ask people how they feel about it. Do they feel like they're up to the task? Yes or no? So once you have that mapped, then you can actually start building some kind of knowledge trajectory where you can inject those people with the necessary training and coaching. So what I like to do, for example, one of the things that I did for Pfizer was some kind of tech bar that we did. So every Wednesday, a few of the experts would be sitting in a room, and everyone who had questions, could be a technical question, could be a functional question, could be whatever kind of question, they could just come to us and ask questions, and then we will discuss things. We would do some coaching, so they would leave again with fresh knowledge. What I'm also doing for another company, and that's a smaller company, they're always doing this coffee break with everyone together at 10:30 in the morning. So what we just said was, okay, every 2 weeks, you don't go for a coffee with everyone in the main room. You just go to one of the training rooms. You bring your coffee. We will provide you with cookies. And for 10 minutes, we will address a certain topic. Could be like, how do I create my email signature? Simple stuff like that.
Yeah.
So they, what's in it for them? They get a cookie. They can just drink their coffee. They get some knowledge. What's in there for us? We can deliver our message to everyone, and everyone will come because we have cookies.
Everything goes easier with cookies.
Absolutely, absolutely. So challenge number
now,
2, the company sponsor.
Company sponsor. What do we mean by that? So the company sponsor is taking care of the driver, right? and also the car, but in a way that if we think about user adoption, usually when user adoption doesn't work is when you don't have a sponsor really behind it, or you have no one really backing it from the management. So because project success is often evaluated on tech delivery rather than business impact, and this is one of the main problems why this is not working. So for instance, you could have a project manager who is really a senior project manager and can deliver his project perfectly on time, and the tech is there and so on, but still there is no focus on the user. There's no focus on the pilot. Again, the user adoption is about the pilot. So it is the project sponsor who should be most concerned about the end user and how they can serve towards the value chain of the business, what the business serves. So mostly in tech projects or in Office 365 projects, the focus is very, very much on the car, on the Formula One car, rather than the pilot. But for the sponsor, or the one who has the willing to go on a race, everything needs to work in sync. So again, you cannot win a race without the pilot. You cannot win the race without the car. So the thing is that you need to have both in place, that it actually, and they work in harmony, that it actually works. And that is kind of the main thing of this challenge. And on my experience is mostly when it failed is that you have no one from the management really backing the user adoption part of the whole project.
Yeah. I think that brings us to our third challenge, the importance of everything. Mm-hmm. So we're now in the age of Corona, the age of COVID-19, and I can still, like in this picture, the CEO saying, yeah, but digital transformation, that's years away. We don't need to change right now. There's no reason why we should change right now. I have customers as well that were saying, look, we've got SharePoint. We don't need to roll out Teams. We don't need to make sure that everyone can work from home. There's absolutely no reason to do that. So for 2 years, I've been trying to sell them on Teams, couldn't find a really good business case to actually get them across that line. And then COVID-19 happened, Corona happened, and now they're calling me saying, Marijn, you need to set it up this week so that everyone can work from home. So this is a major shift in importance, something that nobody really saw coming. But it's something that is happening right now.
Digital transformation overnight, basically.
Exactly, yeah.
So what is the importance of driving adoption? We will come also in the next challenge to it, but basically it's about closing the gap or the time from when you have a realized business value of a new tool or a new process, and until the user is proficient in working the best with this tool or process, by meaning that you reap what you sow as soon as possible. And that is the importance of driving adoption. When you don't do it, you're basically wasting cash, right? You're wasting cash because you're just letting the money slide away, because you are not really addressing the issue of getting your users on board as fast as possible, so that they can actually reap the benefits of what you have identified in the beginning when you started that new project of rolling out the software or an application. So that's about it. So that's actually also leading us to the next, the return on investment. There is obviously costs involved, and the benefits should be reaped. And the slide before showed just the transition from this costs which are involved to do a change until the benefits which are reaped. And again, the user adoption is closing that time gap. And the better it is, the more focus it has, the closer this time gap will be. And you always need to think, okay, when I roll out this new software or process on, what is the real value chain benefit I want to get out of this? and how do I get there as fast as possible? And then you have the return on investment, right?
All right, cool.
So yeah, what is more expensive, to train your users or to not train your users? So that is the question.
That's life's worth of philosophy. Absolutely.
Exactly.
Yeah. Yeah. No, there's also this saying like I can't believe who it was that said it, like we need to train our users, and yeah, but what if they leave the company?
Yeah.
Yeah, but what if we
What if they
don't
stay?
train our users and they stay in the company?
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's exactly that point.
Yeah.
You know, and as change agents or as consultants or as responsibles for a certain service or so, you need to keep this always in mind, in order to sell this to the sponsor. You know, there might be actually the sponsors not even really aware of this. So this is a very good selling argument.
Yeah. Absolutely. Cool. So that brings us to challenge number 5, the complexity of it all.
Yes.
So you typically have those 5 steps of denial, anger, bargaining, depression, and then finally acceptance. So I thought this was a very funny slide, that we don't need to change. Well, why is everything changing? So how can we change? But let's do just absolutely the minimum, and then we'll never be able to. And then, well, maybe if we just change our management, maybe we just don't have to change anymore.
Yeah, it's blame the management.
Yeah, sure. Why not? Why not? But we had a really good discussion before, and always when we have these blame the end user costs. And what we always think of it is that we should approach it like an agile project, because the agile methodologies, they're just great for solving complex problems, because with your user adoption, you don't have a fixed outcome. The outcome that you have is that you want people to work better with a certain tool, and that they can optimize your business process, and that you can minimize your cost. But it's not one fixed thing. It's not a number or something that you want to reap. So the agile methodologies are brilliant for that. So you can plan on your change, you can execute in sprints, you could do lots of communication, you can do training, you can do coaching. There are so many things that you can do. You need to measure what you just did and how effective it is. Adapt the way you're working, because not all these things will work for all these kinds of people. For example, if you have a multinational company, the things you're doing for Asia might not work in the US, and the things you're doing for Europe might not work for this little selling point that you have in this remote location. So always adapt, and of course repeat these steps as well.
Know your audience. I mean,
Exactly.
It's the main thing what the marketing person would say, but user adoption has a lot to do with marketing. You know,
it's true. It is selling your tools.
Yes,
to your
selling
people.
your tools, telling the right story to the person. You know, marketing is telling a story with the intent of a sale, and the sale would be here that, okay, hey, use my tool because it is saving money for the company, or it's making stuff easier to use, or it's saving time or something like that. So it's telling a story with the intent to sell. But as you said just before, Marijn, if I tell one story to an American, the same story might not work for a person in Finland, because they have a total different mindset or of values, what is important for them. You know,
true.
I mean, it was a bit now an extreme example, but this is exactly the point, that the message is key. You know, and it has to do with sales and marketing, and of course with user adoption.
Yeah, true. So another approach is
so the other thing is that as well, here we look a bit at to wrap up this discussion about the PROSCI ADKAR model. So go check it out. So the thing what you need to address with your stories or with your messages is first to raise the awareness of the need for change. If the users don't have the awareness, then okay, why do I need to change in the first place, right? So so what stories you need to tell to your users that they get aware of the need for change. The next one is the desire to support the change. So it's a different story. Okay, you did the awareness, and after the awareness campaign, maybe you need to think, okay, what can you do in order to support this change, and why should you support the change, right? And then the next thing is that the knowledge of how to change. Okay, we are now fired up, we want to do the change, but if you don't know what to do next, after a few weeks or a few days, that enthusiasm will fade, right? So that's why you need to then go on and deliver the knowledge to your users to actually support the change. And then in the end, the ability to demonstrate skills and behaviors actually to really, this is the physical ability to actually conduct the change, right? To actually, okay, what do I need to, I know now I need to do this, but can I physically do this, right? Do I know how to do this? So that's about that. And in the end, as we know, nothing changes with the Big Bang, maybe not even the universe. You need the reinforcement of the change to make change stick, meaning you have put out your new tool or your new process. Okay, users have adopted it, but what's happening next? How can I further improve my adoption? How can I make it even better? So, and that is the reinforcement of your change.
Yeah.
And
awesome.
again, these are complex and difficult topics, but if you use the agile approach to get through those phases, it will help you to actually put these very complex and difficult things into small little chunks, which are easier to digest and to come up with solutions to them.
Yeah. True. All right. To wrap things up, because we're almost running out of time, a few things. So you brought everyone on board. Everybody in your organization now knows that how they need to turn on their computer. They know how to get to the printer. They can all now use SharePoint. And then Microsoft rolls out something new like Teams, for example. So one of the things that you need to know with Office 365, it's an evergreen service. So it's always the latest and greatest that you will get. So that means the change is constantly there's always, things are always changing. So sometimes it feels like you're drinking water from a fire hose, or you're giving that to your end users. There's so many new things coming all the time, and it can be difficult. So that whole user adoption story, it's not done at some point. So it's not like, oh, we're rolling out Office 365, we're going to do our user adoption, and then we'll stop, and then everything will be, well, people will change by themselves. So that's definitely not working. You will also have new people coming in that they will need user adoption as well to start working with their new tools. But definitely know that everything is changing all the time, and that you also need to guide your end users to all those changes as well. Also, please remember that change is hard. So everyone here on the call, I am 100% sure that you will all have some weights or some fitness device laying around in your house that you once bought because, yeah, I'm gonna change something. I'm gonna have a fitter lifestyle. I'm gonna change something about my weight. I will buy some fitness equipment. You probably used it for a few weeks, and now it's been laying there around for a few years. So 100% everyone in this call has the same thing. So change is hard, that reinforcement is something that you need. So don't be discouraged. Just know that it is hard.
Yeah. So can we blame the end user for that? Can we blame the user? Can we blame the sponsor? Can we blame the project manager?
Can we blame Microsoft?
Maybe. let's blame Bill Gates.
Yeah.
Just because of the no, we can't. We just need to cope with the fact that it's just complex. It is how it is, or it is what it is. But we know now that there are strategies to mitigate the complexity and what to do when. So we can only blame ourselves that if we know a solution for a problem and we're not following it up, when we just keep on doing the same mistakes over and over again, I think then we can blame ourselves.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And always keep the end user in mind, because they are the most important things. IT is a service to the organization, and it's the end users that are our customers, and we need to make sure that they're happy.
Exactly. So it's the users who create value on the value chain of a business, not the Office 365 service. It's just serves the user.
Exactly. Cool. And on that bombshell, I would like to thank everyone for listening to us. I just remember that, well, we should have put a slide here that brings people with a link to YouTube where they can find our Blame the End User stuff. But I'm pretty sure that if you look it up, Blame the End User on YouTube, you will probably see Jussi or my face. I don't know if you're happy with that, but well, that's how it is. If you have any questions regarding user adoption, regarding digital literacy, please feel free to contact Jussi, I think, and me. So we'll definitely talk about it in one of our next episodes. So if we can help you, we would love to. Jussi, do you have any famous last words?
Famous last words, yeah. Well, I said this is kind of the first step for our Blaming the End User World Tour. So this was the first time we have had this session. We were planning to do them all in the physical locations. So once they let us out again, we will touring the world with this session. It was an absolute pleasure to be here and have this session for the first time. So yeah, as Marijn said, go check us out on YouTube. Otherwise, we will definitely hear or see each other at some point in this community, in this wonderful, vibrant community. Thanks again for listening.
Yeah. And so all the listeners or watchers for our show, have a really great Microsoft 365 virtual Saturday. Have a really nice day. I think it's 2 days now. So we're on in the morning. So have a nice day. Enjoy. Tweet about what you learned. Let the organization and the sponsors know that you like them and that you like the whole setup. Thanks everyone for having us, and cheers. Bye-bye.
Bye.